Right folks, it's Sunday. Let's see if we can make a start on this Midland 42DS. Bit ambiguous where the serial number is on the box. Oh, thank goodness he sent the car adapter. Yeah, you can really see the serial number with the belt clip. So we'll go back to plan A. It begins with an O. Or is it a Q? Two 22185 360. Right, put the box back. So I think it's in some strange mode, he said. So let's see what we can find out. I've actually found the range better to be on the previous model rather than the DS, which is the digital Squelch version. I've got this going into the deviation meter behind me. Perhaps it would be sensible to get a deviation reading whilst it's on the deviation meter behind me. We'll go through the umbilical cord. So that's our aerial connection rather than anything on the top there. We don't have cigarette lighter sockets on here. Pop it onto channel 20. Right, I'll just get out of my chair and look at the instrument behind me. Wow, look, it's 1.5. Right, that's lousy. We'll come back to that. I haven't got the set opened up. Let's hope we can do better than that. Right, now we'll go into picture-in-picture and let's have a look at what it's doing. I hope we can adjust the frequency on this because it's a bit off. So at the moment the power is 2.2 watts. I don't know whether he wants us optimising for 80 channel or whether he wants to do what most people do and have it optimised for 40 channel and have some jolly good performance, because you can gain quite a lot by wanting... Oh, I've gone and done it in the wrong box. If it's 80 channel, you're going to lose performance. .4, yes, that's predictable. I wonder if it does CPT quickly. I don't know how it's done. No, I don't know how it's done. I'll have to read the instructions. Anything you need to read the instructions for, and it isn't intuitive, is always going to be a minus point. So last channel recall, I thought a longer hold, I was putting it into a different band, isn't it? That. No. UK. Well, it's I. Anyway, presumably, if we put that down to channel 20, we're on CPT. We are. And it's just about on frequency on CPT. It's also doing 2.7 watts. That's predictable as well. I can't remember whether these are AM or FM. Yes, it is AM. In which case, it's doing 2.7 watts, the same. So we go back to UK. And we go back to channel 20. Press transmit. 760 milliamps. Frequency. Change the camera. $27,79065. I mean, that's starting to become noticeably off frequency, but whether or not it's adjustable, I can't remember. Sensitivity. $27,79125. I'll keep it a bit on the low side. In fact, we'll go matching its frequency. That'll do. And see what the sensitivity is. I think we can plug the test gear into this. It's got a socket, if I recall. Yeah. And that enables us to look at the cyanide meter. So for 12 dB, it's 1.2 microvolts. Turn the squelch down. For 10 dB, it's 1 microvolt. For 20 dB, it is 3 microvolts. It could be better through the socket on the thing, but we're going to do everything through this. Or are we? I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's go back to 12. And we'll get an adapter. So going through the BNC socket. Oh, it's much better. Yeah, we'll do everything through the BNC socket. So it's now, that's better, 0.61 microvolts. With 10 dB, 0.58. And for 20, 1.55. Just look at transmit power again, that might be better. Let's go back to the main meter. So staying on channel 20, just to see if there's a difference, it's now doing 2.8 watts. On channel 40, doing 2.7 watts, and on channel 1 doing 2.9. So that's what we're going to do. Deviate, all those other things don't affect. It's the loss in the umbilical cord. Now he says it's in some kind of strange mode, and I'm not quite sure, and I can't see the display anywhere without about 5 pairs of glasses. So what does the display say? It's in power save mode, which I wouldn't want it to be in, but I don't know whether you can get rid of that. High-low power. So we'll go back to channel 20. And we'll put it onto low power. Okay, so let's see what it is on low power. I think it's supposed to be 1 watt. It's 0.55 on channel 20. There's something really strange he said about it seems to be in some kind of strange mode, but I can't see that. Out of interest, we'll see what the current consumption is on low power. The answer is 450 milliamps. I'll just put that in brackets. So there's quite a power saving if you're on battery and if you don't need the full power. So I'm not kind of quite sure, because there's nothing unusual on the display. I'm going to switch it off, we'll switch it back on again. Right, so what we'll do, we'll go through the tune-up procedure. But I'm going to email him, and we'll come. I've got a few minutes this afternoon, and we'll just see what he's got to say, because I don't know whether he wants it optimising for UK 40 like most people do, or whether he's going to think he needs the CPT band, and whether he wants to use AM. So I'll be back. Right, so once again between church services I've got 20 minutes, and coming back to this, I've printed off an instruction book so I know how to change its country code, because in order to reset this I want to make sure that we actually really are in UK. So it does say that when you are in UK, it gives you the UK FM 40 channels, the unique ones. Then it gives you CPT under the Italy thing, which is why it's going into I, so that's quite correct. So that's fair enough. That enables it then to do 4 watts on AM if the radio is capable of actually doing 4 watts. I don't think these are they? So, not 4 real watts anyway. So let's switch it on and let's see what we have to do. It's here somewhere. Here we go, frequency band selection. Turn it on whilst pushing AF LCR and scan at the same time. So that one and that one. And then selecting with the up and down and then AF LCR to lock it in. So let's give that a go if I've got enough fingers. Good. So I know it's in. I'm sure it was before, but there's nothing about a master reset, so that's the best I can achieve. So the next thing we need to do is to take it apart, and then I'll look at my notes. First of all, we've got to take this strap off. And I can't remember whether we take both the bottom ones out or just the one on the back part of the bottom. Right, see whether we can part it. Now, you've got this battery eject lever and it's got a spring. So you need to make sure that comes out with its spring. And these springs are often strained or sprained, whatever you want to say. So just be aware that and then you get accused of it not ejecting properly. Yes, so that's come away. There's actually no reason to take the front off, but I'll tell you what, we will do it on this one occasion. I've shown this before. There's no adjustments, nothing to see. There's lots of levels of board, as you can well imagine. I'm sure these are made for them by Maxon still. So we'll put that screw back straight away. I'm just seeing if I can see a frequency adjust trimmer and I can't. Now here's your fun bit. You've got to be able to put this back on with the setting bits or run it from the crocodile clips. So let's get our adapter back on, and this is one adjustment I can do without referring to my previous notes, and this is the frequency. So let's get the frequency counter up on the inset picture. Power the set back up. And key up whilst we apply our little trimmer. What am I pressing? channel. That's not affecting the frequency, so I've got that wrong. So it's that one, isn't it? It's that one. So we're optimising this for UK only as requested. There we go, spot on frequency. So I'm really glad it's got that, because we're going to be worrying about it being really the edge of starting to not be on frequency where it was on 068. So that's one thing I can actually tick off. So I'll go and find our notes, and next time I've got some minutes. I don't know whether it's going to be today or tomorrow. So we're now 4:30 on Sunday, so this is how it is on a Sunday. Okay, still Sunday, it's 6:30, and now I have got the information, which hopefully is the right version. Oh, we didn't know what that was before. It's frequency. Right, so we'll work through this now. Let's go starting to transmit. See what we can do with transmit. So, I'll adjust the power. You know what? This isn't the right. This is not quite the same. Or am I lying to you all? Yeah, there's some definite differences. I'll just see whether I've got some. This is the previous version, and although I'm sure that the S meter and the TX meter up there are the same, down here there's some differences. So I'll just pause the video and just see if we've got something newer. So we have got another version. I must change the cartridge in this printer. Yes, the TX meter and RX meter where the other one was. So what we need to do is to look at power. It's the right hand one of the two. I keep pressing buttons. Am I on low power? Yeah. Right, so we want to go a bit nearer to 4 watts, don't we? The trouble is I keep pressing buttons. It won't do 4 watts. It will do 3.4. So that's where we'll have it. So it's the point here is not to set it to full, because obviously there's a minimum and a maximum to the preset potentiometer. And if you set it to full, you're going to increase the current consumption, but not gain any more power output. We're at 1.07 amps at the moment, and that's the point at which you gain no more power for any further movement. A bit like driving a car, and you've got your pedal to the metal, and it doesn't matter how much more you can't put the pedal to the metal anymore, because you should really be changing gear. But I'm speaking from the UK, where cars mostly have gears. Right, TX meter. So when we key it up, what does it say? Well, when you key it up, we've got to try and keep the battery on, haven't we? Oh, good grief. So that's showing full whack. I don't want to read full whack without knowing what that really is. So the right hand one is power meter. You know what, this is different again. I think we're going to have to turn this down and just prove which one of these is the adjustment. I'm going to turn it down to about 1.5 watts, just so I can prove to myself which is the. It's not that one. Oh, that's bizarre. I'm going to take this over to the computer, and I'm going to actually see which version, because I've got that 42DS down, and this is different again. So when we look at the 42 original, I've got S meter and TX meter there, and then down here we've got the adjustments there. Well, on this version, the 42DS, I've got the power and AM mod adjustment exactly where you'd expect. They've taken the preset out. It's now fact. It is this. So what I got was receive meter, auto squelch, and then on to the right used to be TX meter. They've got rid of TX meter, and it's now a fixed resistor across the 3 pads, 2 of the 3 pads. So I am on the right version, but they've removed one of the presets on this later version. No wonder I'm confused. Now I can see what they're doing. So you cannot alter what the meter reads. We've turned it down to 1 watt, and it's still reading full pelt on here. It's that psychological, oh, look at the power I'm doing. The newer sets get, the more full of BS they seem to be. So we need to up the deviation. Switch it back on. But as you can see, when I'm now at 1.5 watts, if I key up, wow, straight across. Unbelievable. I'll keep it at that while we just set the deviation up. So, deviation was the one I inadvertently fiddled with first off, thinking it was frequency, which is down there through that hole. So let's see where we are on the deviation meter. We'll use this one and then verify it with the test instrument behind me. Wallow. Wallow. So now I've got 2.2 to 2.5 on that. I'm just going to verify it with the test set behind me, which we can't really have a camera on. Wallow. That's right. So it's absolutely spot on today. Well, that's going to be a bit louder and clearer than it was doing 1.5 kilohertz to bring it up to, well, that was the peak I could get out of it. It's now 2.5 peak. I don't think this has been messed with ever. You know, it looks a very genuine set, the way everything is set up. But he was concerned that it was in some strange mode, because when you go between, when you're setting the country channel, it comes up with a code. But I think that code's just for a software version. It's nothing to read into it. And he wondered if it got some kind of modification to try and do 10 watts, but the sets aren't even capable of 4, so there we go. So we've now got 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz, and the meter is full scale deflection, FSD, non-adjustable, but it was went on my one. Okay, we can get back onto it. I'll just pop the power back up to 3.5 watts. So we've gone on the 3 watt scale. You see it going up to 3 watts and beyond, and then we just need to put that peak in just when it starts to it soon drops to 3 watts with the heat generated. So it is 3.5. We'll just go down. Actually, we could use this quick up and quick down, can't we? So on channel 40 it's 3.3 watts. On channel 1, just go up 1, 3.5. Low power, let's go back to channel 20. Low power is now what? 600 milliwatts. It's gone from 0.55 to 0.6. Current consumption is 435, and the current consumption on full power is now 1.09. There's really more battery power, the difference between taking from the 2.5 watts it came in at and the 3.5 watts it's doing now, which is to be expected. I mean, a big realistic handhelds of 81, they're 3.5 watts as well, so you know, that's how it is. And that's on this test set, so we can add 0.4 to what this says if you want to know a more general power meter reading. So, as a courtesy, he has asked this to be UK. I'm just going to go into AM in case I've inadvertently altered the modulation, because I could easily have done so. So we're going to just go to AM. Which is there. And I'm just going to check. I'll put it on channel 40. It saves me moving my test equipment around as much. Wallow, 1, 2, 1, 2, wallow, wallow. So that's just give you the percentage. It's about 85% mod. I'm not writing that down. I've just done it as a courtesy to make sure I haven't inadvertently upset anything. And on transmit, as a courtesy, what power is it doing on AM? 3.3, something like that. It's always going to be less range anyway. Out of interest, and again, he's not asked me to check CPT, and I'm not going to, but just for my own peace of mind, I'm interested to know what power it does on channel 1 of CPT. It's probably going to be a lot nearer 4 watts. It isn't actually. That's interesting. I thought it would be. Okay, so we'll go back to UK. Good. What on earth is it flashing? Have I pressed something? It's got this power save thing. I don't know how you turn that off. You probably don't. Good. So we're now back to normal. So things I need to check. And that's now receive. Checking the signal generator still on frequency. Oh, we've put the radio on frequency, haven't we, since? So I do need to put this to 2779125. I'm just going to check the radio is still on frequency. I'm not even on channel 20. Yeah. Right, now we'll check the... So we want this to read for 100 microvolts input, which is what we've got on at the moment. We want this to read S9. And at the moment... 135 S5. We'll just get that onto S9. Which one's that? It's the one next to the TX meter that doesn't exist. There we go. Let's put a bigger signal on, and it does do that. So now it's, to be honest, it's reasonably accurate. Well, it is on S9. Now then, Squelch. So we did. Oh, you won't believe what I've gone and done. I switched the signal generator off. Okay, so we're back where we were. Squelch. So I'm going to turn the Squelch to full. And let's see where full Squelch is. It is 3 millivolts, which is a bit harsh. So can that be adjusted? Yes, it can. So the preset, you can see where I'm going. It's probably easier on the diagram, which is the one I'm doing. There's the volume control. It's this preset here. There we go. That's a bit too. That's now a bit weaker than I wanted, and I didn't adjust it much. That's now a bit harsher than I want it. That's exactly where I want it. 100 microvolts, S9, maximum squelch. So now auto squelch, I want that to be about 3 microvolts. So how do we switch that on? Oh, it's got a switch position. So just that one is the lower preset. So in this triad of 3, we've got the transmit meter, which is no longer fitted, the receive meter, and then auto squelch. So we'll just go into that one. That gives us down to about 1.2 microvolts. Wouldn't say that tracks the best thing in the world, but that's how it is. So, squelch sensitivity, normal squelch that is, with the signal generator on standby at 0.3 of a microvolt, we'll set the normal squelch to threshold, switch the signal generator back on, and it's coming in at 0.5, which is excellent. So it's 3 on auto squelch. We'll just go to that. It's at 3 microvolts, and it goes down to about. I just want a bit more than that. I just don't think that's brilliant. It wants to be more than that. No, it's there. It's about 3 microvolts. It doesn't really want to be in a different position to that. So that's that. So we've now got 100 microvolts for tight and 0.5 microvolts. I never did check that one, so that was not right. And the sensitivity won't have changed because there's no adjustments which you can do there. I'm just going to check that I'm right, that we've done everything there is to do. So the transmit meter is non-existent. We did, as a courtesy check, AM mod. We've done power. We've done auto squelch. We've done manual squelch. We've done frequency. I don't think there's a detector in these. Now, there's nothing we can do with the receiver, so the thing is to put it back together. got to make sure we tuck this in. There we are. So we'll start putting these screws in, and then before we kind of get them all in, we need to put that battery eject lever in. But I've shown these sets before. It's all in the back catalogue. But it felt to me, you know, it was so different this. I thought I've got yet a different version, but I'm amazed they've taken the TX meter preset out. Battery eject lever. So I've got the screws kind of in, but just enough for me to put that in safely. You can now tighten those back up. Then the little screw there we go. Just put that screw in the bottom. Vehicle adapter back on. Test equipment back on. So we'll just check we still got 12 dB where it was before. Let's go over to the synod meter. Plug that in. So 12 dB is 0.67. We got it with 0.61 with it last. That makes, I say, it's all how I interpret these as well. 10 dBs, 0.61, and for 20 dB, not quite 1.5. Must put his lanyard back on as well. So that isn't going to change. Auto squelch is. Manual squelch is less tight, so more sensitive at the bottom end. We're done. And it's still Sunday. No idea why it flashes that it's on FM. There we go. We're done. So all I need to do now, just before we leave the meter, we'll just check it's still doing the kind of power we're expecting it to do. So we'll just go back to the main meter, just so we're making sure we're not upsetting anything, putting it back together, whacking across there, 3.5 watts on there. So we'll swap the test instrument for the aerial, and we'll just see if there's any good baddies. Good baddies? Probably are. music playing on channel 19. It's Monday tomorrow. We're going to look at some old books instead of magazines. We're going to look at some old books, so we all know what to call a whatever. A traffic. What I always loved that traffic warden custard tart. That's assuming they're all female, isn't it? That's awful. Well, no, Roger. Put that auto squelch, and it is just about coming through with the auto squelch. Well, it's probably a bit too much swearing on this for this channel, but there we go. That is optimised. So we've brought it up from 2.2 watts to 3.5 watts, which is the maximum we're going to get, and we brought the deviation up from 1.5 to 2.2 to 2.5, which is where it should be. We brought the set on frequency and improved where the squelch is. It was too tight for maximum squelch, and that means it drops off at the bottom end, so the squelch sensitivity isn't as good as I would like it. And we've made sure that auto squelch is somewhere sensible as well. We've reset the S meter, but the RF meter is factory set and can't be altered, but it can be on the earlier version. So there we are, we're done. What a pain, they always are. Thanks for watching.